Ever since John Singleton's untimely passing, I've been thinking about a video, how I could pay tribute to this legend, to the filmmaker that really impacted my life, man. And I just didn't know how to do it, man. So I came up with the idea of why not just pay homage to the genre that he created, that to me, I say is the golden age of black cinema. So I put together a top 10 of my personal favorite, what I like to call hood classics. When I first started doing my channel back a couple of years ago, it's crazy, I started my channel 2 years ago, I had a little series called Retroland Reviews where I reviewed my favorite hood classics from back in the 90s. Those were some of my first reviews. Very cringeworthy to watch, man, but you know what I'm saying? But that just shows how special these movies are to me, because these are like the first things that I put on wax, you know what I'm saying? So here's my top 10 favorite hood classics. And I wouldn't even be doing this top 10 if not for my man John Singleton. But without further ado, here we go. A few honorable mentions I want to put out there that didn't quite make the top 10 would be Jason's Lyric with Alan Payne and Jada Pinkett Smith. Paid in Full, which I think is probably the last of the hood movies. That was like the end of an era. Belly, which at the time I really did enjoy Belly, but after watching it years and years later, the movie does not hold up too well at all. It had the unique style of Hype Williams directing, but yeah, Belly did not age too well at all. But still, it is considered a hood classic, but not in my top 10. Set It Off could easily been a top 10 for me, but to me, we've already had a bank robber film, which I'm about to mention, and it was almost like a higher budgeted copycat of that movie. So, I mean, I don't give me that he didn't dig it face. I did dig Set It Off. Okay, the end where Cleo got killed, you know, that shit got me, but it just didn't crack top 10. You don't know shit about movies, motherfucker. Number 10 is The Wood. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. The Wood, that's not really a hood movie, but look, hood movies ain't gotta be just about gang banging and killing and all that shit and a lot of fucking in the movie, okay? As long as it takes place in a predominantly black neighborhood, in a black setting, okay, it is considered a hood movie. So The Wood, definitely funny, one of my favorites of all time. Not a big Omar Epps fan, but you know, I didn't mind him in this movie. To me, this movie was more about the kid version of it. You know, the part of the movie where it was like the Wonder Years. If you remember that show, The Wonder Years, like the part when they were kids, that to me was the most special part of the film. So yeah, The Wood, number 10. Number 9, a John Singleton classic, Higher Learning. Dug this film, man. When this first came out, it got ripped apart by critics. I know Siskel and Ebert shit all over it. It was criticized for being all over the place, not knowing what it wanted to be, because it took place at a university, and you have all these different groups. You know, you have the white group, the black group, the lesbian group, you know, well, not lesbian, LGBT. I don't want to offend anybody. I think any other director would have fucked this movie up. But because it's John Singleton and the emotional impact that it had at the end, like nobody could shoot an emotional scene like Singleton, okay? He was a master at that. If there's two things he's really good at, is putting good throwback music in his movies and provoking emotion, okay? Like that guy knows how to bring out the tears and give you chills in a lot of those scenes, and Higher Learning definitely did that. So yes, definitely Higher Learning, top 10 for me. Number 8 is Baby Boy. Another film that's really criticized by a lot of people, including black people. A lot of people said this movie it went backwards, okay? So instead of going 1, 2, 3, it goes 1, 2, and back to 1. I got that from Shaq, by the way. So yeah, Baby Boy was like the last of John Singleton's hood trilogy, I guess he called it. You know, you had Boys in the Hood, Poetic Justice, and Baby Boy. And I can see how people say that, but look, when this movie came out, I was around the same age as Tyrese and the character Jody, so I could relate to this, okay? I was early 20s, man-child, living at home, trying to figure out what the hell I'm gonna do, okay? My mom used to have a few boyfriends I used to come around that I did not like. A couple of them almost came to blows with, even though I never got knocked out like Jody did or came close to it. But I can relate to the Jody character, except for the baby mamas, okay? I know that's kind of glorified, you know, like, you know, having all these baby mamas and shit, but look, child support is a bitch, okay? So I'm glad I wasn't about that life. Number 7 is Friday. How can this movie not be on the list? So great that it spawned 2 sequels. Both of them was funny as hell, but still, nothing can top that original Friday. That's one of the movies where you can watch over and over again and never gets old. You can't deny one of the best, not only just best hood classics of all time, but one of the best comedies ever made. Next is a personal favorite of mine, Yes, I got the poster on my wall, Dead Presidents. Went to see this when it first dropped, and this is the sophomore effort of the Hughes brothers. And man, did they kill it in this movie. I remember buying the soundtrack back in the day because I'm a sucker for throwbacks. I love throwback music, man. You know, 70s, 80s, whatever, man. But overall, I really had a great time with Dead Presidents. So this is definitely my top 10, one of my personal favorites. Number 5.
This nigga's scared.
Juice. I did a review about this one 2 years ago. This is one of my first Retroland reviews. I reviewed Juice. It's one of my favorites. I watched this movie so many times I can't even count. Cousin China, if you watch my videos, you know Cousin China, she does Game of Thrones reviews with me. She will not watch Juice because of me, because as a kid, I tortured them with a lot of movies. We would watch them over and over again, and Juice is one of those movies where she cannot watch anymore, but I don't give a damn. Number 4, Living for New Jack City. Oh, yeah. Do I sound like Levert? Big ups to Gerald Levert, man. Rest in peace. New Jack City. Yes. Look, this came out before John Singleton's first movie that I'm going to mention later on, which I guess is another spoiler within my top 10. But New Jack City really put black cinema on the map, because prior to New Jack City, we had King in New York, we had Colors, but these were so-called black films, but with the white lead, because King in New York, it was Christopher Walken. Colors, you had Sean Penn and Robert Duvall, but now you have a gangster movie with black people headlining, Wesley Snipes and Ice-T. And to me, that was, at the time, that was large. Like, you know, I was in the 6th grade when this movie came out. So this movie was very, like, this was a big fucking deal, at least, you know, to black people, okay? And not to say white people didn't dig this movie too, but just for us, we never really had our Godfather. We never had our Goodfellas, you know what I'm saying? So New Jack City was supposed to be like our Godfather and our Goodfellas. Number 3, House Party, another comedy. Surprise, surprise. House Party, I remember going to see this in the theater, and man, when I say that was one of the best theater experiences of all time, sitting in a crowd, all black people having a good time. Some of them were drinking. I smelled a little weed in the crowd, but you know, when the parts were, you know, when the shit was funny, everybody almost fell out their seat. It was almost like Def Comedy Jam, but in a movie theater, okay? If you remember how Def Comedy Jam was when people was flipping out, falling out the seats and shit, that was House Party. So one of my favorite theatrical experiences of all time. Watched it recently. The movie does hold up. It aged very well from beginning to end. I think this is probably one of my, like, this is one of those movies where you can't really point out nothing wrong with, okay? Even for a 90s movie, this movie to me was like damn near perfections, okay? So right down to it. Number 2, Boys in the Hood. John Singleton, the master. Because of this film, because of Boys in the Hood, we got a whole genre or subgenre, or whatever you want to call it, of black films, of talented black filmmakers that really didn't get a chance before, now can show what they can do behind the camera. Before John Singleton, Spike Lee was it. Like, Spike Lee was like the Eddie Murphy of film directors, okay? There can only be one. But John Singleton comes, and Boys in the Hood, not only did it appeal to black people, okay? Because New Jack City, House Party, these movies, as classic as they are, really appeal to only the black audience. But white people also love Boys in the Hood. Steven Spielberg even gave John Singleton a shout out in the movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, Boys in the Hood was large. It made a lot of money compared to his budget. It was a hit that summer, because you're talking about a summer with Terminator 2 and Point Break, Double Impact. You know what I'm saying? Like, 91 was a crazy summer. I mean, especially with Terminator 2. And Boys in the Hood came and still made a lot of fucking money. Like, they caught lightning in a bottle. And it kicked off the careers of Morris Chestnut, Cuba Gooding Jr., Ice Cube, you know what I'm saying? And to me, it really put the West Coast on the map. All right, because being the Nintendo nerd that I wasn't what you call a music enthusiast, okay? I knew about rap music, but it was whatever was played, that's what I listened to. So I heard all the Big Daddy Kanes, the Run DMCs and all that shit, Eric B. and Rakim. But I heard of NWA, but to me, NWA meant wrestling, okay? I didn't know about the group NWA. I didn't even know West Coast. I didn't know California had rappers. I watch Boys in the Hood. I see Ice Cube. And instantly, I'm a West Coast fan. I'm an Ice Cube fan because of that movie. I wish I had a great story about first seeing Boys in the Hood, but I don't. Honestly, I first saw Boys in the Hood on a VHS bootleg. You remember the character from Martin, the Tracy Morgan character, Hustle Man? Yeah, we had a cat like that where he walked around. Yeah, whatever you want, $5, cheap $5. So we had a whole display of VHS tapes, okay, with the shitty photocopy of the poster of the movie in the insert. Yeah, what you want? I got Terminator 2, I got Point Break, I got that Boys in the Hood, anything you want, $5. So my mom's boyfriend bought Terminator 2 and he bought Boys in the Hood. Now, if you remember VHS bootlegs back in the day, they were hit or miss, okay? So the bootleg could either be a decent copy where the camera's steady, it's bright, you can see what's going on, or like my Terminator 2 copy, half the screen was cut, it was too close into the shot, and sometimes it was too far back, it was tilted, that Terminator 2 copy was so unwatchable where I got a headache watching that shit on bootleg. But Boys in the Hood, surprisingly, was a good copy, and I remember watching that shit back to back. After I got done watching it, I rewound it and then watched it again. I know some people would pick Boys in the Hood over this one, and I couldn't argue with that because it's like apples and oranges, you know what I'm saying? But Menace to Society, #1. I did a review on this 2 years ago. Also, this is one of my Retroland reviews. Menace to Society, yeah, it's hand in hand with Boys in the Hood, okay? And, you know, you can flip-flop them, but to me, I just had a better time watching Menace. To me, I think Menace had more memorable lines, okay? And it was that movie that I like where the protagonist is the antagonist, okay? Almost like, you know, Tony Montana, Scarface, Henry Hill, Goodfellas, you know, Kane, and Menace to Society, you know what I'm saying? So I like a movie where the protagonist is really the bad guy and Kane was the bad guy, but he was just surrounded by bigger bad guys that it made him look like he was, you know, somewhat good, but, you know, he wasn't. You know, if you put the character of Kane in any other movie, he would be the villain. But you got O-Dog with you, and O-Dog, like you said, the craziest nigga alive, America's nightmare, young, black, and didn't give a fuck. So y'all, that's my top 10 hood classics. All right, I shared my favorite John Singleton film experiences. What are your guys' favorite hood movies? What are your favorite John Singleton movies? Comment freely below. Thank you for watching. As always, this is Rashad G. See you in the next video.
What the fuck you just say, nigga?
See you in the next video.